Hello everyone, my name is Hou Dongkun, a master student from Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool University. Now I will introduce my paper called A Highly Secure Authentication Module for Smart Door Lock with Temporary Key Function. I will introduce the paper including 4 parts: background, system module, experiment, and conclusion. I will talk about some background first. Smart Door Lock is one of the most successful and widely used applications of the Internet of Things. It enables unlocking the door lock without a physical key and brings huge conveniences to users' life. Users now can unlock smart door locks by smartphones, smart cars, fingerprints, faces, and so on. In smart door lock systems, a significant function is the temporary key function for visitors. It allows the host to distribute a temporary key that can be used once or a given period to a visitor. Currently, there are 3 types of methods for temporary key function in smart door lock systems. The first one is pre-generated temporary keys. The smart door lock system generates a set of temporary keys and sends them to the devices of the host. The shortcoming is the number of temporary keys is finite. Thus, when they are all used, the host has to come back to the door to store regenerated temporary keys. The second method is cloud-based temporary key distribution. The host device real-timely generates a temporary key for a visitor and sends it to the visitor and the cloud server. The cloud server then sends a temporary key to the smart door lock. Because the cloud server plays a significant role in the process, attacks on the cloud servers threaten the security of the smart door locks. The third method is the time-based dynamic authentication token. The host device takes the current time as one of the inputs and generates a temporary key for the visitor. The temporary key can pass the authentication of the smart door lock as long as the time is synchronized between the host device and the smart door lock system. Obviously, the shortcoming of this method is time sensitive. Therefore, this paper aims to overcome the shortcomings of the existing temporary key function in smart door lock systems, and propose a novel authentication module including a secure and convenient protocol. We first designed an elliptical cryptography-based authentication module, which is highly secure as well as lightweight for smart door locks. Then, based on the authentication module, 2 protocols were designed for the host and the visitor to unlock the smart door lock. It can not only meet the requirements of lightweight and high security in the smart door lock system, but also ensure the protocol portability and applicability of the door lock in most scenarios. Next, I will introduce our system module. First, I will talk about visitor access conditions. There are 4 types of entities, including the door lock, the authentication module, the visitor, and the host. All entities in the system have communicating abilities. There are communicating channels between authentication module and door lock and the visitor and host. When receiving an unlocking request from the visitor, the door lock transmits it to authentication module to authenticate the request and determine whether to unlock the door lock or not. The system requires the unlocking request must be transmitted by short-distance secure wireless channels. The disable remote unlocking and provides higher security because any attackers who are attacking the smart door lock must be near the door. Next, I will introduce the process of the unlock door. Firstly, the authentication module should store the ECC library and initialize the parameters to guide its private key and public key. The host submits the registration request to the authentication module and gets its private key and public key. If a visitor wants to unlock the smart door lock, the visitor first builds the connection with the door lock and sends the unlock request to the authentication module. The authentication module generates a random value and a time step and sends it to the visitor. Then the visitor forwards it to the host, and then the host assigns the message by these equations. If he agrees, visitors obtain the access and sends this signature to the visitor. The visitor forwards the signature to door lock system, and the visitor can get door access once the signature is verified successfully. Next, I will talk about host access condition. Similar to visitor conditions, there are three types of entities, including door lock, the authentication module, and the host. All entities in the system have communication ability. When receiving an locking request from the host, the door lock transmits it to the authentication module to authenticate the request and decide whether to unlock the door lock or not. If the host wants to open the door, the host first sends the unlocking request to the door lock, and the authentication module generates a random value and a timestamp and sends it to the host. The host generates the signature by these equations and sends it to authentication identification. The host can get door access once the signature is verified successfully. Next, I will show our experiment. This table shows the computation and the communication cost of the visitor's protocol and the host protocol theoretically. In the table, the number of signature generation denoted by SG and the signature verification denoted by SV are considered. In addition, the number of messages denoted by M is used for the evaluation of the communication cost. It can be found that the computation costs are equivalent for the two protocols because both of them applies one signature generation and one signature verification. The communication cost for protocol 1 is larger than for protocol 2 because more communication is required for a visitor to unlock the smart downlock. In our experiment, the proposed protocols are running between three virtual machines with the same configurations on a laptop. The experiment environment is summarized in this table. We ran two protocols 10 times on different element curves. Note that in visitor protocol, the visitor's device only forwards message between the smart door lock and the host device, so computing time on the visitor's device is ignored. The average computing time is showed in this figure, where visitors' computing time in protocol 1 is ignored. It can be noted that the running time on the smart lock is a little longer than the running time on the host. It's reasonable because the verification requires more time to generate random number and timestamps. The average running time increases as the complexity of the element curve increase, which also means the strainings of the security. In the second experiment, a Raspberry Pi is employed to simulate the smart lock device with limited computing power. The experimental environment is summarized in this table. Two virtual machines are used to simulate the host mobile device and the visitor's mobile device in Protocol 1 respectively. Similar to experiment 1, the two protocols are executed 10 times on the different element curve. The average computing time is shown in this figure. Compared with experiment 1, The running time on the Raspberry Pi is much longer than on virtual machine, and this gap gradually increases as the complexity of the adapt curve is increasing. In summary, an ECC-based novel authentication module is proposed with highly secure as well as lightweight for smart door locks, and the two protocols for the host and the validator are designed. Where protocols overcome the shortcomings of the existing scheme regular the temporary key. The experiments are carried out to study their performance. The results shows the proposed scheme is lightweight and secure. In the future work, we will develop mobile applications for the proposed scheme. Thank you for your attention.